Let's talk about MOBAs.
Yeah.
Yeah. League of Legends had a fairly significant patch.
So not an actual live patch. So
It's an experimental branch.
Yeah. So over the last couple of weeks, kind of they're getting towards the next season. So they break it up by like the pro seasons basically. So towards the end of the pro season, the finals will actually be this weekend. They start talking about the next season, which at first it's just very like design philosophy type stuff of like, hey, we want to make changes to this, and a lot of it has been focused on the jungle.
Yeah.
Specifically, we're getting the new Summoner's Rift, and with that, we're getting new camps. But they've also been talking about how there was really only one path. Like at the very beginning of this last season, it was like we made some changes, and you can do certain things. But it all came down to whoever had the fastest clearing speed and a gank tool was the most efficient.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, so we need to change that. So they've talked about that for a couple weeks, and then they put out some patch notes. And again, these are like up and down. These are like not final. They are
super fluid.
A lot of these will probably not make it in. This is them just playing, which is, I think, just a very cool thing.
It's fascinating to see them do that. Like, hey, we're gonna break our game on purpose to see what's fun and see if it can work later.
So yeah, they're with the new Summoner's Rift, all the minions, all like the jungle creeps will change.
Yeah.
And with that, specifically for jungle, I'm not going to focus on everything because there's way too much, and we would do an entire episode on it, which we could.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, we could.
But jungle, so you can the Magic's Razor, I think it's called, or the starting item that you always get that does more damage to creeps in the jungle.
Machete.
Yeah, machete.
Hunter's machete.
Will now have different paths. Normally they had like 3 paths. You can get like one that was for magic dealers in the jungle, one that was a tank, and then one
Feral Flare.
Yeah, and Feral Flare. There was like very specific paths. Most people went Feral Flare or one of the spirit items.
Yeah. Spirit of the Elder Lizard or something like that.
There are now like 4 different paths that change depending on like what path you go up. So like one purely does like gives you faster clear speed. There are more details specifically in each of these.
To each item that
to
you build,
each item.
One, I think it like made your smite, whatever you smited, did an AoE explosion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and killed them.
So
the
it's
mobs,
basically, it sounds like all of these are meant to just accelerate the jungler's efficiency.
or allow them to like stylize the way they clear based on what they're building.
So here are the actual patch notes. Hunter's Machete now upgrades into 4 items that amplify or change the Smite ability. The Smite is the other ability they use for jungling in League.
Yeah.
Depending on whether overarching jungle strategy, what do you want to do? Do you want to gank, invade, fast clear, or counter jungle? So Stalker's Blade, which is one of the upgrades, after killing 3 monsters, you can smite an enemy champion, dealing a small amount of true damage and reducing their movement speed for 50% for 2 seconds.
Enemy champion.
So this is what Smite has never been able to use. It was always like
on neutrals.
On neutrals.
Yeah.
Or you can use them
creeps.
or creeps in lane.
Yeah.
This introduces a lot of cool things for junglers who haven't been viable before.
That basically, it sounds like a Rod of Atos in Dota, where you just like you cast it on them and they are slowed or they have like a stun or whatever it is, right? But it's like it's just core to the jungler skills. It's like that guy just has that now. Well, that's terrifying.
But that's great because
it's awesome. I love that.
But it's only one path. The other one is Poacher's Knife. Upgrade Smite to Quick Smite. Quick Smite has a reduced cooldown, has further reduced cooldown when you kill large monsters, and grants bonus gold if you use it on monsters in the enemy jungle.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
that encourages Brian Albert's philosophy of, hey, there's 2 jungles. Let's get 2 junglers.
You want to invade, which is
2 junglers.
Yeah, we were riffing about having 2 junglers, and we were like, that'll never work.
I would love for there to be just a huge shift in the meta where there's a second jungler.
There's always 2 junglers. That'd be so good.
There kind of has been in the finals. The supports have been roaming with
I've watched that.
with the junglers, which has been crazy because like basically they'll pull off lane swaps, and so if they go to that lane, they're gonna die. So the support will just be like, all right, you and I will go in the jungle and just hang out.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they'll send the AD up top, and like the AD will get solo experience. It's becoming kind of like Dota meta, which is it's been like much faster rotations. Like
I like that. I love when MOBAs get mobile.
MOBA.
That was hard to say, and I tried not to goof it.
MOBA. Okay. Skirmisher Saber. Upgrade Smite to Challenging Smite. Challenging Smite can be cast on enemy champions. Does no true damage, but revealing them for a short time and causes your attacks deal bonus true damage for each time you hit them. So this is
is there a duration? Does it have a duration?
It's gotta be. It's gotta have it.
It probably has duration. It's not listed here.
So you cast it, it reveals them. So if they run away and you chase them, you know where they are.
Yeah.
And then you get extra damage.
So basically, I think there's there's some champions who just basically like you want to come in and burst them. So I think this would be great on Yi.
Oh yeah.
You come in on Yi and like basically as you're hitting them over and over and over again.
You needed a buff.
Yeah. No, not at all.
Not at all.
Yi is basically free LOL.
Yeah, he's a monster. I saw him just tearing it up in an ARAM, and it was horrifying.
Yep. True damage, and he attacks faster. That's just going to be a nightmare.
Oh, no true damage on this one.
But your attacks do true
They
damage.
do extra damage.
True. Okay. And then the final one is Ranger's Trailblazer. Upgrade Smite to Desolating Smite, which causes Smite to deal 50% splash damage to other nearby monsters, as well as stun them for 1.5 seconds. So this is for people who
no champion effect. That's for somebody who's going to stick in the jungle very aggressively.
Yeah, and maybe like say they're a little bit weaker, and they need because they're also buffing the damage of all of the jungle monsters. So maybe they need a little bit of help. So
faster clear,
faster clear, but also like so they're not taking as much damage.
Yeah.
So like when you're doing it, like you're not going to die. So you'll stun the big one. And then maybe we'll just do a little bit of damage to the guys on the side.
All of this sounds awesome. I hope it stays and doesn't just break everything.
Yes, and then from that, there's also just like boot enchants, which were like basically a third tier boot. Everyone only ever really buys home guards because it gives you basically breaks the speed cap in the game, and you can just go super fast.
Home guard teleport.
Yeah. Oh my god. So you can teleport, and then the speed remains on it. So as you leave the base, you can. This is the only time you have. Extra speed is when you get out of
just sprinting.
Yeah.
Great.
So you're just like so fast, but that's when it doesn't really work for everyone, but it's great. And then the enchants is Warrior grants AD and lifesteal, Magnus grants AP and CDR, Juggernaut grants health, CDR, and movement speed. And then
all of these are named after Dota characters.
Yes, kind of. And then Slayer grants attack speed, CDR, and a stacking attack speed buff.
Stacking attack speed.
I want to be a jungler now in League. That sounds great.
One of my friends is a really good jungler. I got to ask him what he thinks about this because it's going
to make it harder, but like there's so much more choices. Like you have so much more things to think about and do rather than
You know what's going to happen is people
kill.
are going to see that whatever one you mentioned where it's like you get extra gold or whatever for being in the enemy jungle. Mm-hmm. You're going to see a lot more junglers being aggressive and seeking that out earlier. Bad plays incoming, everybody.
Oh yeah.
So there was something that I saw. I don't see here in the patch notes. There's actually, I think, I forget exactly how the mechanic works. I think one of them causes a spirit wolf to come out, and if an enemy jungler comes into your thing, it will seek them out. I don't think it does any damage.
Just reveals
them.
It just follows them, and then grants vision. So like if someone comes into your jungle, I think this is a choice.
I don't like that. Get rid of that.
I think it's a choice you have to make in your item.
Yeah.
Your item build though. So like if you know that they're gonna be invading a lot, like if you know that they have.
I feel like the counter to that though is like if somebody is in my jungle, it's my responsibility to find and stop them, whether that's with wards or like in Dota we would use like smoke to go into our jungle to be invisible and get the jump on them. Having something that just automatically finds it and reveals that person is kind of, I don't know, it makes it too easy.
Yeah, but it's going to make your jungler has to be aware of what that guy's building, the other guy's building. So if you
that's true too.
So
I don't know. It just seems like a very convenient counter to that particular.
Just
kind
like
of
auto.
build.
Oh hey, look, there they are.
Yeah,
just
found them.
I see your issue with it. There's also that little minion that runs in like the river area.
Oh yeah, that is
like a crab or something.
Yeah,
right?
it's called the giant. Well, in this notes, I think it's called the giant enemy crab. Is I think the temporary name for it. And then if you kill it, it puts a speed. I think it's
like a little location that you can run through from, like Ascension, where you'll just get a speed buff.
Cool.
And when you run through, it'll put it in front of Baron and Dragon.
Yep. And like there's just some cool stuff. The wolf came from one of if you use a smite on one of the creeps, the new creeps, which I think is the Merc Wolf. If you use smite on that one, then it creates this thing. So you have to choose when you use your smite.
So you do have to go into the jungle and use it. So it does have that risk offset. Because my thing was like, if the jungler is risking going into the enemy jungle, it should be a risk to find and kill him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then there's a bunch of other stuff like, you have to choose where you can use your smite at this point though. But yeah, there's some cool stuff. There's some changes to tower. There's changes to the benefits of killing objectives. Like you get stacks that give you certain things that you want to basically, like, hey, they're gonna get dragon. We don't want to give them another stack of getting dragon. It's no longer just a financial increase, it's a buff increase.
Oh. I thought there was bounty changes too.
Yeah, there's
so much.
I'll go dig through these, and then I think maybe next week we'll all really
do another follow up.
Yeah, because I wanted to bring up jungle.
Go play with this too.
Yeah, I'll try to get on the PvE and test. I'll talk to.
I just want to keep playing Scion.
Yeah, Scion's
enjoying
fun.
him.
Great.
I tried him last night for the first time. I've been super busy the last couple weeks, but I tried him last night for the first time. I really think I could get into him. I couldn't get top lane, so I jungled with him, and he seemed really fun. Like, he's just super scary. Like, that presence, like, when he joins the team fight, you're just like, oh, crap. Like, there's an issue.
Yeah, so, like, the sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, so his ult makes the spirit load.
It's like this big war horn.
Yeah, basically,
right.
and he starts like you can hear him just like screaming as he's just coming up the lane. You're just like, oh god, oh god, oh god.
That's really good.
League Riot just posted like greatest. I don't know what they called it, but it was like a Scion misplays. It's just like all these team fights, and then you'll just see a Scion just like run through in the background.
Because people forget you can re-trigger it to stop, so they'll just be like, oh, see you later,
I
Scion.
missed.
It's also really fun to bait him in. Like, if you're playing with bad players, you bait it in, and then you just either flash or if you have a dash out of the way.
Yeah.
And he'll run into minions, and then he'll just be behind enemy lines. You're like, oh, sorry, you're dead.
You're stuck under that tower now. Goodbye.
There was a Vayne last night. I forget who his support was, but he saw me coming, and he tumbles out of the way, and his support just got hit direct by me. And I was like, oh, you're a team play.
That's good support.
Yeah.
Support's doing his job.
Yeah, taking blows.